I just want to give everybody an update on the legal issues that I'm dealing with, on not only obviously my own issue, but the fact that my issue relates to everybody, right? Because again, in the United States of America, really around the world, we all have the same God-given inalienable rights. And in different nations, there are different laws that apply to different nations that protect rights. But certainly in the United States of America, that's, my primary focus, because this is where I live, and I'm looking out for my own rights and dignity, and the rights and dignity of my family, my friends, my fellow Americans. So the most recent video that I did, where I delivered the Dr. David Martin 200-page criminal complaint to the Miami-Dade County State Attorney's Office, Catherine Fernandez Rundle. When I went there, not only were my civil rights violated, which I documented, because I video recorded the entire, video recorded my efforts to enter that public building and deliver to my public servant, the Miami-Dade County State Attorney, an elected government official, in a public building, a place of public accommodation, that complaint. And of course, I was met. And remember, this is in Florida, where everybody understands Florida to be free, right? Governor Ron DeSantis has spoken out against the ridiculous, as he calls them, mask mandates, and he's right, they are ridiculous. And again, as I've addressed in so many videos, it's, if a person makes a claim, as I do, and many others do, many don't because they don't know, they're intimidated, which is another factor to all this. It's actually a violation of law to coerce or intimidate people. And it's a violation of law to violate people's rights under law. And that's what's been happening. So I'm fighting against that. And in delivering the 200-page Anthony Fauci dossier and criminal complaint to the state attorney where I live in Miami-Dade County, Florida, not only was I met with interference of my rights when I went into that public building, where they asked me to put on a face diaper, and I informed them that I do not wear them for a disability, for health reasons, and I do not wear them for religious convictions, religious practices, religious reasons, both of which are protected by laws. There is no, I've addressed this in other videos too, right? There's no mandate that applies to the public to begin with. Government mandates only apply to the government. And on top of that, they simply cannot force medical procedures upon people. So the bottom line is, I have the right to go into that public building or any other place of public accommodation without wearing a face diaper, without having had a vaccine, because those are my rights, and those rights are protected by law. But what happened is, if you saw the video I did when I went in that day, the chief investigator for the Miami-Dade County State Attorney came walking down, didn't even identify himself. He just said his name and instantly came up and pushed me in the chest, grabbed my arm, poked me in my sternum, started pushing me, thrusting me with his arm backwards, just about caused me to lose my balance. One of my sandals came off and pushed me out the door, took me outside of the building. So he violated my rights under law. It was a civil rights violation. That's a fact. And it was acts of battery committed against me. If I did that to him, I would have went to jail. It was battery, plain and simple. When the police officers arrived from Miami-Dade County, they acknowledged, and I have that on video, that they acknowledged it was battery. Based on my description, they said it was battery, and based on the video, which they saw, they concluded it was battery. And they acknowledged on video, in my video, I asked them, I said, so that was battery? The officer said, yes. And you saw it on video? Yes, I saw it. So here she acknowledged it. So, of course, for the few weeks following that, I was sending numerous emails to the state attorney, sending numerous emails to Governor Ron DeSantis, to our Attorney General, Ashley Moody, and I did have a conversation, which I video recorded that and uploaded it, where I was speaking with a representative from Ashley Moody's office who concurred with me that I was right in everything I was saying. He called it a grave matter, a serious issue, and it needs to be addressed. So I did get I called it in previous videos, an affidavit, that I was doing an affidavit. I still want to do an affidavit, but an affidavit has to be written in a certain way. I did try to file my sworn statement with the recording office in Miami-Dade County, and they refused to accept it, saying it couldn't be accepted. It had to be an affidavit, and if it was an affidavit, it has to be written a certain way. So I do have a paralegal that's looking at that for me to get it, so I can register it also as an affidavit in record with Miami-Dade County. But I did get my sworn statement of facts, which I articulated everything that happened exactly precisely as it happened. It was a 5-page statement. And I got that notarized, and I sent that to Governor Ron DeSantis. I sent that to Attorney General Ashley Moody. I sent that to Miami-Dade County State Attorney Catherine Fernandez-Rundle. I sent that to the Internal Affairs with Miami-Dade County Police, and to the detective that has been appointed to take the police report. So when I called last week to get the police report, the police officer sent it to me via email right away, and I was blown away when I read the report, which I was going to do this video and actually show the report. I'll probably do another video because this is an ongoing issue now, and that's basically what I'm doing now, is I'm explaining where I'm at and what's currently happening with this issue. Specifically with regards to the Miami-Dade County Police Department's report on the battery that took place. When I got the report, basically the police officer wrote in the report, just simply wrote, I'm paraphrasing it, and that's why I really wanted to read it. But I will read this report in a future video because I'm going to go over everything. I will eventually have a report from the Internal Affairs Office as well, and I'll read all the reports when it's all said and done. But basically, when I got the report, the officer just wrote, like, oh, there was a disturbance in the building, and the man was asked to leave. She didn't say anything at all about battery. She didn't put any descriptions, nothing. So, of course, my immediate concern was, wow, was, the police, because I was concerned from the beginning, right, that there's going to be cover-up, right? I mean, the Miami-Dade County State Attorney is really going to charge her chief investigator with battery? Of course not. Should she? Yes. Is she required to? Yes. Is he guilty of battery? Yes. If I did to him what he did to me, would I be in jail? Yes. Would I have been charged with battery? Yes. Are government officials above the law? No. So therefore, he should be charged with battery. It's just that simple. There's no getting around it. It's all on video. There's no argument about it. There's no investigation needs to be done. He should have been charged already. And I sent numerous emails immediately following that incident, going on, over a month now, to, again, the state attorney, the Attorney General, Ron DeSantis, police detectives, police departments, and nothing. None. Not one of my emails was responded to. I got nothing in the mail, nothing, right? So I figured, okay, well, maybe they're playing their little game because it wasn't official, right? Technically, so I called the detective who was assigned to that. Oh, and by the way, the initial police report I got, not only was it really written very inaccurate and flimsy and haphazard, it was as if it gave me the impression that the police officer was told, hey man, this is the chief investigator for the Miami-Dade County State Attorney we're talking about here. We ain't writing no report against him, right? Like a cover-up. That's the impression I got based on the nature of the way the report was written. But I also saw in the report that it said case closed. So they closed the case even before before I was ever contacted by an investigator, a detective, or anything. So clearly cover up, right? So when I got the name of the detective that was on that report and I called him, he said he never got it. He never knew anything about it. He gave me, he asked me to send it to him. This is another interesting thing. I endeavored to send him an email from my Gmail account, MikeSingerMusic@gmail.com. He said he didn't get it. I sent it from a couple of my other Gmail accounts, and he said he didn't get it. So finally, I contacted Internal Affairs, and the sergeant called me a few days ago, and I explained all of this to the sergeant. And the sergeant asked, said she was going to look at the body cam footage from the police officer, which she did. And this sergeant with Internal Affairs, she seems that she's on it, and she's doing her job. Because, she called me, and she called me back the next day, said she saw the footage, she concurred, she said she wanted to see my footage within an hour after I sent her my footage, which, by the way, I tried to send her the information via my Gmail, and she said she couldn't get it either. So then I went to an obscure Gmail account that I haven't used in years, and I sent it, and she got it. So it's like Google or the system is blocking me. They're blocking my primary email addresses that I use all the time. Because why would they not get numerous emails I sent from those email addresses, but when I used some obscure one that I haven't used in a long time, they got it, right? But anyway, the sergeant with the Internal Affairs saw it and concurred over the phone with me that, yes, that report was not written right, and therefore the detective can't even move forward because he needs a proper report, right? He needs a report that is more accurately written. So what she indicated on the phone was that she was going to talk to the supervisor of the police officer and get a more accurate report written for me so that the detective can now file that official police report with the state attorney's office, right? So after thinking about it, and again, I'm paraphrasing this, I'll read all of this later on another video, but yesterday I wrote an email to the sergeant yesterday saying, and I'm paraphrasing it, but I said, basically, I'm not trying to tell you how to do your job. Please don't take it that way. By no means am I doing that. But, I'm very concerned. It would be a good thing if you can get to the bottom of why that police officer wrote the report the way she did. Did she write it that way because she was told to, right? Cover up. And if so, by whom, right? Her sergeant, her supervisor, right? So this thing is potentially much deeper, right, than just, she did because again, I said, I would like to see in your final report these questions answered. Did she speak to the perpetrator of the crime, the person that committed acts of battery against me? Did she speak to that person? If so, why is that not in the report, right? And did she take it upon her own self to write such a flimsy report? He or she, whoever wrote the report? Because if so, they only have two choices. They either have to admit and acknowledge their incompetence, that yes, I'm incompetent, I wrote a really weak, inaccurate, report, or they have to fess up that, well, yes, my supervisor said, hey, this is, a big time, high-end government official here. We're not going to write a report against them, right? And she's going to have to fess up to that. So the officer's going to be in a catch-22, because the officer's either going to have to acknowledge that they did a really lousy job and incompetence, or they're going to have to fess up that they were told to not write a strong, incriminating report against the chief investigator for the Miami-Dade County State Attorney, right? It's one or the other. And then, again, the question of, if the officer did just take it upon themselves to write the report that way, did they speak to the perpetrator of the crime, right? The chief investigator for the Miami-Dade County State Attorney who committed acts of battery against me? Did that officer speak to him? And if so, did he influence her to not really write a report? Here's a question. Is the chief investigator for the Miami-Dade County State Attorney possibly guilty of further crimes because he lied to the police officer? In other words, did the police officer, even though she saw my video, did she go to the detective? Did she go to the chief investigator and he said something else in a way that was not consistent with the video, not knowing that he was video recorded, not really realizing when he did what he did that my camera was running? He didn't know at that moment, because I called the police right after. So maybe he didn't know there was a video recording, and he lied to the police officer, thus causing her to write the report the way he or she wrote it, right? Which would be something that needs to come out in the internal affairs report, right? These questions need to be asked. Hey, officer, did you speak to the perpetrator of the crime? Did you speak to Emilio Tamayo, the chief investigator for the Miami-Dade County State Attorney? Did you ask him questions? Oh, you did. What did he say? Why is that not in your report, right? Oh, he said that? Well, that's not what the video says, so he lied to a police officer. Did he? Is that a possibility? That he committed further crimes by lying to police officers? See, these are all questions that need to be answered. These are what I said at the end of my email to Internal Affairs, nagging questions. These are nagging questions. They need to be answered. All these questions need to be incorporated in the Internal Affairs final report. So again, that's paraphrasing what I sent to the sergeant yesterday. So the big point of this video I'm doing is, look what I'm doing, not just for me. I'm doing it on behalf of the American people. Because if it was any other person, right, it would have happened to them. Their rights would have been violated, just like my rights were violated. And government officials are not above the law. They need to be held accountable. So this is actually a case point. What happened to me is like a perfect scenario for all of Americans. It's the perfect case because my civil rights were violated when I went into a place of public accommodation, and battery was committed against me, and they're trying to cover up, obviously, for this government official. So I'm on it. I'm not going to let go of it. Justice will be done in this case, and it will serve as an example into the future on what people can expect to take place for themselves, for their rights, for their dignities in places of public accommodation, and how government officials are not above the law and they will be held accountable. That's what all this is for. So I'm doing this for you, American people. I'm doing this for people throughout the world because, again, these issues apply to human beings throughout the world. So that's where I'm at with it. And again, I will do another video after the internal affairs report and investigation is completely done, and there's a report from IF. When the new report has been written and submitted to the detective, and the detective does his report, all those reports all have the initial report, which clearly reeks of cover-up. I'll have the second report, how it had to be changed. I'll have the internal affairs report with all of these questions that need to be answered. And I'll have the detective's report that's going to be submitted to the state attorney for the battery charges that must be filed against the chief investigator for the Miami-Dade County State Attorney, Emilio Tamayo. How do you like those apples? That's what I'm doing because it's right. And because I'm not going to be railroaded, and I'm doing it for me, and I'm doing it for you, fellow American. All right, so God bless you. God bless America. God bless people throughout the world. Have a great Saturday. I'm on it. And who we got here? Adam. Hey, Adam Harlow. Sorry, my wife was holding the phone, but let me wave back to you there. I'm going to turn off the phone now because I'm driving. My wife was holding the phone. But I'll keep you posted. Make sure you go to my BitChute channel, my YouTube YouTube, they always take stuff down, right? They're run by communists, but sign up, get an account and subscribe to my BitChute channel, my Rumble channel, my Brighteon channel, my Odyssey channel, my YouTube channel. There's links to all of them on our website at thebigvirushoax.com. The Big Virus Hoax, HOAX, thebigvirushoax.com, which is the greatest website on planet Earth, the greatest website on the internet for people to know everything about what's been going on for the last 2 years concerning viruses, what they are and what they're not, the true science, pseudoscience versus real science, vaccines, what's in them, the whole thing. So, social media censorship, social engineering, the New World Order, what their plans are, what their strategies are, what they're trying to do to herd all of humanity into their liberal, leftist, progressive, godless, transsexual, transgender agenda. It's all there on the website, thebigvirushoax.com. All right? Take it easy. Talk to y'all later.